So I don't know if you guys are gonna. Well, first let's say hello. Adios manners. Before I do that, if you guys could hear that, I am very near the what is it called? The Gifford? Yeah, the Gifford fire. So there's a lot of airplanes passing over me right now because it's still daylight, and the firefighters are working very, very hard, and all the other emergency personnel to combat that fire. So I do want to say I hope everybody is well and you guys are being safe and just trying your best to have a good outcome of life. And I really hope the fire does not move out here towards where I'm at. Last I heard, we were about 30 miles away, but no evacuation order so far, so I think we'll be okay right now. So, that being said, I do want to say hello. Welcome back to another episode of Branchin Banter. I am one of your co-hosts, and I am doing the show today. I kind of wanted to talk about the food pyramid and generally food through a pyramid. So I know everyone's always like eat less, move more, but honestly, having a desk job, it's so hard to be moving around so much because by the time I'm off, it's 5 o'clock. By the time I get home, I make dinner, I do some homework, do some editing, do whatever I gotta do, it's 7 o'clock. And then it gets dark. Well, it's gonna be getting dark a little bit earlier, but it gets dark around 8. Like, I'm so lazy to go out after 7, honestly. But I do try to hit the gym in the morning because that is one of the only times I have to go to the gym. So I get up at 3:30 in the morning, hit the gym at 4. I'm out by 5, between 5:30, 5:45, get home at 6, do some lunch, breakfast, shower, get ready for work, all that shenanigans. And sometimes you're just so tired from life, your day, anything, that you're just like, I don't even want to do this today. So, how else can you get on track and be healthy and do all that stuff if you just have no motivation to be moving around that day? So, I know you guys have heard of this counting calories, dieting. I'm going to share personal experience with you guys. I have calorie counted and I still do to this day sometimes, but I want to talk about my past first. I have calorie counted to the point where it's obsessive, where you calorie count every single little thing that you're going to put in your mouth. And it's not fun. It's no way to live life. Now, mostly what I do is I'll calorie count, and I do that in quotations. You guys can't see me, but I'm doing quotations, like one day out of the week. And then the rest of the week, I'll kind of eat very similar to somewhat the same. It's not like calorie counting to an excess, just because I don't want to lead myself back to that path, because I know I can lead myself back to that path if I'm not careful. And then there's calorie counting and then there's dieting. Yes, calorie counting is a form of dieting, but dieting in general, I mean like OMAD diet, paleo diet, I don't know, what is there? Keto, there's a bunch of different diets. And yes, I have tried diets because, I grew up in the era where dieting was the thing. It was the norm. Everybody was like, get skinny, get your summer body, do this, do that, whatever. I feel like dieting in general can be very, very bad for you because you see food as a restriction, as a diet, rather than seeing food as a nourishment. And I think that's a couple things that we need to change about our thinking. And even to this day, I feel like people are more open to intuitive eating and, in a way, counting calories and stuff, rather than calling it a diet. And with dieting and calorie counting, you bring in your metabolism. So just because I eat one way and somebody else will eat the exact same way I'm eating, doesn't mean we're going to end up with the same exact results. We'll get very different results. Mostly that's due to like genetics, hormones, muscle mass, etc. As a woman, my hormones are a little bit more elevated. My body tends to want to retain a lot of fat rather than lose it because, it wants that fat around the hips because if you want to have kids, it wants to have that cushion there. And then genetics too. If in your family you run the risk of high blood pressure, of a slower metabolism, it's this and that is going to affect how your body will take in the food and how long it takes the food to become this energy for your body. And then some people have higher blood pressure, so they have to watch what they eat because of their blood pressure. So, like, genetics has a big, big factor in that. Metabolism is very run by your genetics. And I know you guys have heard probably, like, when people say, oh, a calorie is a calorie. Like, it doesn't really matter as long as you get your calories in. Well, yes, but you want to make sure you have the right nutrients to accommodate that. You want to make sure you're getting in your macros, your micros, everything. from all your vitamins to all the proteins, all the carbs, all the sugars, everything. You want to make sure you're getting the right amount for your body. So yes, tracking can be useful, but it's not the only way to get this healthier mindset. So first, let's talk about the stigma of dieting. Depending on the time that you grew up in, maybe right now you're in your 20s, if you're in your 30s or in your 40s, 50s, whatever, we all have been dealing with the cultural pressure to be a certain way, to look a certain way. I remember growing up and I was like, you are too fat, you have to lose weight. Most people are like the summer bodies and stuff like that. And that's just like a marketing scheme, honestly. Summer bodies and all that stuff is a marketing scheme for social media and just clothing in general. Clothing in general. Let me talk about clothing for a minute. I remember growing up and I've always been a heavier girl. And I'm not saying I've been like thick. I just heavier girl. I've always had a heavier body ever since I started my period. Well, I remember going to stores and seeing all these little skinny sized clothes, and then you get to the plus size or the extra larges or extras, and or sorry, extra large, 2X, whatever it is, and the clothes is so frumpy, and it looks like my grandma's clothes. No shame on my grandma; she has good clothing, but not something I want to wear at that age, you know. And it's hard shopping for clothes in general. Sometimes you're just like, I want to wear that outfit, but you know what? It's not going to look nice on me because I'm thick. And that's just honestly how we are brainwashed through marketing and social media too. We think that in order to have this really beautiful outfit, you have to be that size and a skinny person. Well, I'm here to tell you today, girl, wear the clothes you want to wear. And if you're a guy, then wear the clothes you want to wear. Like, it shouldn't matter what we look like on the outside, unless it's a health factor, of course. Like, if you're at risk of having high blood pressure or diabetes or something, you might want to change something. But if it doesn't matter to you, wear the clothes you want to wear. Who cares what other people say, honestly? Half the time when people are criticizing you about something like that, it's because they are insecure. That person is insecure. So F them and just do what you want, girl. So along with like cultural pressures and social pressures, we have the diet culture. Diet culture, you see the words like cheat day, bad food, clean food versus junk food. What is a cheat day? Why are we calling it a cheat day? Why are we tricking our minds into thinking that this is cheating on your food? It's really not. And it's not like bad food or junk food or clean eating. You just have to be more intuitive with what you're putting in your body. Instead of, I don't know, eating 3 slices of cake, eat 1 slice of cake. Instead of having chips, have an apple. I don't know. Like, try to find ways to stop consuming the foods that are bad for us, such as like fast food. Honestly, if you stop eating fast food and you start making all your food at home, you don't even know what's going to happen to your body. It's going to be so many great things. You're going to have so many great nutrients that coming along with that. And you don't have to see this food as a cheat day or junk food. It's just fast food, honestly. It's just fast food. And honestly, I hate saying honestly so much. Fast food is not good for you. Let me just say that right now. So if you're going to think of bad food, think of fast food. Fast food is so not good for you. But I don't want you guys to look at this and be like, oh, it's a cheat day. I'm going to eat what I want. And you pig out all day. That's called a diet fad. Like, we're not trying to do that here. We're trying to establish a good relationship with the food. Eating food when you're hungry, eating good nutrients, having good food, eating more home cooked meals. And that right there is how you overcome diet culture. Because like if you continue with this diet fad, diet culture, and think of all this food as good, bad food, whatever, it's going to make you feel shameful. It's going to make you feel guilty because you're going to indulge in something. Like you're going to have ice cream and oh my God, I can't eat ice cream. Like you're going to start thinking that way. And you don't want to be binge eating or restricting your body because I have gone through binge eating. I have dieted super strictly for months at a time. And then a week of binge eating. And then about 3 weeks of still not really watching what I'm eating. And then you gain most of the weight back. And then you go again. And you go restriction, restriction, restriction. Binge, 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 binge. And then again, restriction. It's just a cycle. It's a big cycle that you're just repeating over and over and over again. And to stop doing that cycle, you have to be eating in moderation. You can have this, you can have that, but not too much of it because, yes, it's bad for you or it's not good for you. Like, too much of a good thing is still going to be a bad thing. If you eat too much healthy, air quotes, healthy food, it could still lead you to the same road. So instead of like thinking dieting is a form of punishment, because honestly, your body will think it's punishment if you're over here mentally telling yourself, I can't have this, I can't have that. You're punishing yourself. Don't think of it as a punishment, think of it as self care. You're taking care of your mind, you're taking care of your health. Like, it's good for you. Food is supposed to be nutritious rather than you're forcing down 4 ounces of chicken and some bland white rice and some broccoli. Even though I kind of really enjoy broccoli with chicken and rice. And yeah, maybe that has to do with me going through these fads and having that for such a long time. But I will say that did teach me to eat more of my vegetables. And to this day, I really enjoy broccoli. I enjoy asparagus. I enjoy most zucchini. And I enjoy bell peppers a lot. And onions. Like, those are my favorite veggies to eat. And did I eat them before this dieting? Probably not. And I would probably avoid vegetables for all I remember. But that was the only good thing that came out of it. I really enjoy chicken, pork, and ground beef as well, which is also the majority of what I would eat when I was dieting. And on top of that, you also have to respect body diversities. Everybody comes in different shapes and sizes. And why are we going to be mean to people because they are of a thicker body size or a thinner body size or whatever it is? In order for you to be accepted, you have to accept others. You can't go around judging people and being mean to people behind their back or in your head because that's just you being self conscious. It's probably something that you think, like, oh, I'm thicker. And then you go and make fun of somebody who's thicker. Like, we have to stop thinking that way. You have to start respecting yourself and respecting others. Shift that mindset. So now that brings me to counting calories versus intuitive eating. So, what is counting calories? Honestly, it's just like it sounds. You are counting your calories, counting everything you eat. And I think I just mentioned that too. But pretty much, I have counted calories and I still do too a little bit. So, I mostly use MyFitnessPal. I know there's other apps out there that'll do it for you. I feel MyFitnessPal is one of my favorite ones just because I have always used it. What are some pros to that? It brings awareness, so you know exactly what you're consuming, exactly what you're putting into your body. It gives you structure. It helps you outline your day. You know what you need for breakfast, you know what you need for lunch, you know what you need for dinner, you know what snacks you have. It helps you stay on track so you know when you're going to hit your goals. I believe it does a little summary at the bottom that says if you keep eating like this, in about 5 weeks, you'll be at this weight. So that's always a good pro to have. Now, of course, with every pro, there are some cons. So it can become obsessive. And I know it can become obsessive because I've done it before. I've been obsessed with counting my calories. I don't do it. And it's the reason why I don't count calories as much anymore because I'm afraid of it becoming obsessive. And I have built a pretty good relationship with my food to this day where I allow myself to have foods in general that I wouldn't have allowed myself to have back, I don't know, 10 years ago, 12 years ago or something. So it can become obsessive. So I just want to say if you're going to count calories, just know it can become obsessive. And I don't want you guys to do something that you'll later be obsessed over. So if you feel like it's becoming obsessive, then take a day off. Don't count your calories that day. Just, eat what you regularly would eat without actually weighing everything down. Just eyeball it. As long as you eyeball it, I think you'd be good because that's kind of how I do it. Another con can be ignoring your hunger cues. You'll be hungry and you just will be like, nope, I can't eat because I have to wait until I have dinner. And then, so this is like a whole other subject, but like when you ignore hunger cues, depending on how you're eating, if you're eating less calories than you should be eating, like say you're eating 1,000 calories or less, which you really shouldn't, I wouldn't advise that. But if that's what you're eating, your body and you're telling your body that you want it to wait till the next meal and it's hungry, your body's going to go in starvation mode. When it's in starvation mode, it's going to start storing all of your fats. You're going to do the opposite of what you're trying to do. You're going to gain weight. You're going to get bloated. You are going to store your fats. Instead of losing fat, you're going to start gaining more fat. So I would advise before you do anything, please seek medical attention and make sure that the calories you're going to be eating is sufficient for you and your body. And if you have heard my podcast in the past, you do know that I have sought out I don't know if I said that right. I have looked for medical health. I went to a nutritionist, and I want to say the recommended calories that she gave me was not enough. And to this day, I do not eat that little of calories because it is not enough for my body. And I felt it in my body, and I wanted to listen to my body and eat. But she was restricting me so much. So if you are going to seek medical attention, just be aware that not everything that somebody says is going to be accurate to your body. There are some really, really good sites out there that can calculate your average calories that you burn a day. So one of those is TDEE calculator. You enter in your age, your weight, your height, and your activity level. I can't talk today, obviously. I always put sedentary just because I do have an office job. You might want to put, I do exercise, but I just do sedentary. And don't forget to click male or female if you're a male or a female. And then you put it to calculate, and it'll tell you how much you, how many calories you use a day, and what it recommends for you if you want to lose weight and at what rate. And I will say right now, the first week that you enter when you start eating in moderation, that very first week when you start cutting things out, excessive calories, you will notice a difference. You might lose, depending on your physique, depending on if you already work out, depending on what you eat in general. When you change your diet, you could lose up to 5 to 10 pounds that first week. Do not expect that to happen every single week. It's not healthy for it to happen every single week. Max is recommended. I think it's like 1.5, maybe 2. 2 is more like in that danger zone. You don't want to lose that. You want to stay at between 1 and 1.5. Your fitness goals, your body goals, your goals in general are not a race. Don't expect to lose 50 pounds in 5 months. And if somebody is promising you to lose 50 pounds in 5 months, no. Just stick to what you know, inform yourself of whatever you need to inform yourself with, and try it out by yourself first. If you need help, you can go and get help. I got off track. The last con that I had was I can create anxiety. By creating anxiety, it means like you're anxious to just always be calculating everything. You feel like you need to calculate everything, aka obsessive. But that is another con. So, what is intuitive eating? Intuitive eating is when you're hungry and you know that you're hungry, so you eat, but then you stop when you are satisfied. The best way I think to do intuitive eating is to take your time eating. Don't rush your food, because I don't know if you guys noticed, but when you rush your food and then you finish it all, you're stuffed and you're full and your tummy hurts. And that's because your brain still needs to realize that you are full. And sometimes your stomach or your body will think that you are hungry when you're actually thirsty too, because your brain doesn't know how to differentiate between thirst and hunger. So my first recommendation is to always drink water or drink a liquid and then give yourself about 20 minutes. If you're not hungry no more, you are just thirsty. But if you're still hungry, eat something. And that's how you can train your brain, or train yourself, actually, not train your brain, train yourself into realizing when you are actually hungry and when you're not hungry. Intuitive eating is honoring your cravings without feeling guilty. Don't feel guilty because you want that bag of chips, but do leave it at that bag of chips. Don't have a family size bag. Have a serving size, Intuitive eating can also heal your relationship with food, but you do need to be aware of your body and trust it. You can't just eat and be like, yeah, I'm just hungry all the time. And then you're like, why am I not losing weight? Why am I gaining weight? Well, maybe because you're not eating intuitively. You're just eating. Cut that out. You need to start thinking of food as nutrients, fuel for your body. I think the best way to eat is to have a little blend of both. Be aware of your calories. Use it as a training wheel until intuition is strong, until you know what intuitively you should be eating. Mindful eating takes time. You gotta practice, practice, practice until you realize, oh, I'm actually just hungry. Oh, you know what? Let me drink some water. Oh, I wasn't even hungry. I was just thirsty. It's not gonna be something, wake up and know how to do. It takes time to learn it. But honestly, like, I also want to say, if you are eating to be in a competition, you might want to go do your calorie counting, because intuitive eating, it will fill you up, but it won't get you to the competition. What is the best way to blend both, and how do you learn about it? Well, I don't know what era you grew up in, but there is this handy dandy little thing called a food pyramid. Now, before everybody turns me off and be like, Addis, you don't know what you're talking about. I just want to talk about it. I just want everybody to be aware of where our mindsets come from and probably where this originated. So, originally, the USDA had a food pyramid in 1992, very close to the year I was born. And on that food pyramid, and let me tell you, I was very, very shocked to hear this statistic. The base of the pyramid was your greens. Your greens are seeds from cereal plants that are eaten for their carbohydrate content and other nutrients. So in 1982, the USDA grouped all grains together, which whether it was refined or whole or wheat or whatever. They didn't make a clear distinction between nutrient-rich whole grains and refined grains that had most of their fiber removed. So if you guys have heard of refined grains, you already know those are not good for us because I'm not saying they're not good for us. They just have all their fiber stripped away. So up to you guys if you guys don't need them. What are some refined grains? White bread, white rice, regular pasta, crackers, pretzels, and many breakfast cereals. These are stripped of their fiber and their nutrients. And of course, these were on the food pyramid. The whole grains contain parts of the grain kernel, like the bran, the germ, and the endosperm. These include like whole wheat bread, brown rice, oats, oatmeal, barley, popcorn, quinoa. Is it quinoa or quinoa? I say quinoa. But quinoa was less common in 1982, just to let you guys know. So now that you guys know what that is, these were the base of the pyramid. These were the ones that were recommended to have 6 to 11 servings per day. I'm gonna let you guys hear that again. 6 to 11 servings per day. Let me tell y'all right now, I have maybe 2 servings. 3 servings max of grains, and they're all in like rice format, maybe oatmeal, and that's about it. 6 to 11, gosh darn, that is so much. That is so much grains in your body, like especially if it's the ones that don't have the fiber. Like that is not good for you. Well, I don't want to say it's good or not good. That I would not advise for anybody to consume. And then they would also have minimal health fats. So all the fats were lumped as bad, whether it be good fats like avocado or bad fats like canola oil or something. I don't know if canola oil is bad for you, but it doesn't sound good. And those would all just be lumped up together. As of 2011, I believe, the USDA no longer uses the food pyramid. I believe they use something called MyPlate. Pretty much, it's divided. MyPlate is divided into 4 food groups and a side of dairy. So, like a vegetable, which is the largest section of your plate, which is about half your plate, should be fruits and veggies, with veggies taking the lead. Fruits are always a smaller portion than the veggies, but it's still very important for your body. Grains, about 1/4 of your plate. And then they also advise to make it at least half of your grains to be whole grains. Your protein, about 1/4 of your plate, including lean meats like fish, beans, nuts, eggs, and tofu. And then dairy, which is shown on the picture as a glass or a cup on the side, which can be milk, yogurt, cheese, or fortified dairy alternatives. The main difference between those back then to now is the quality over the quantity. We focus on what kinds of grains, proteins, and fats, and not just the serving sizes. Vegetables are emphasized more, so grains are no longer the base. Healthy fats are recognized, such as olive oil, avocados, stuff like that. They're encouraged in moderation. And then flexibility allows for cultural and dietary variations. It also helps that there's a visual of it too, so most people can see what they should be eating. Of course, if you're somebody like me who likes to go to the gym, my proteins take up most of my plate, and then it's the veggies and then the carbs. And I don't always have a dairy alternative on it in every meal. I usually have it in the mornings. So one of the biggest criticisms that came from the food pyramid was that it pushed for a higher carb diet without differentiating between refined and whole grains, which we talked about. So like the biggest takeaway from this is that nutrition advice evolves. So staying flexible is key. And as nutrition is always evolving, so are we and our bodies. Your body will go from having a very high metabolism, possibly, to eventually it slowing down. And when it slows down, you have to like really be conscious of what you're eating. So when is watching what you eat healthy? It's healthy when it brings awareness to meet nutrient needs. It's healthy when you prevent deficiencies and you support goals. Food choices that make you feel energized and feel good physically, mentally, and everything else. And it's unhealthy when it's obsessive tracking, when you're afraid of food, when you're cutting out entire food groups without a medical need or ethical needs. And by that, I mean people who are vegan because they have an ethical need to not be eating animals, because animals are pets, not food. It's also unhealthy to watch what you eat when you have a social withdrawal to avoid eating out. So I feel like this is a yes and a no for me, because let's say you have a goal, you want to be, I don't know, 40 pounds lighter or something by the end of the year, and you want to stay, you're doing this cut, because that's what I call them, cuts. You're doing this cut for like 3 months and you have a month of maintenance. Maintenance is like where you maintain, where you're not losing weight, you're not gaining weight. And you're doing that back and forth, just like going down in your weight, going down in your weight. And your friends want to go out to eat, but it's during your cut. And yeah, I know that sounds like food restriction. It's really not. I've done it before and it's not really restricting food. But the place that they want to go out to eat is a pizza place. And right now you're kind of trying to keep that cut going. And next month is your maintenance fee. And in your maintenance, you can actually go out and have pizza because it fits your macros. And that is the only time I will ever say that it's not unhealthy to watch what you eat, because you have a goal in mind and you're trying to do this. And yeah, maybe you guys might be thinking like, oh, you're such a hypocrite, because then weren't you just saying that dieting is bad? Yes, I know dieting can be bad, but if you have a goal and you want to meet this goal, sometimes intuitive eating is not going to cut it. You kind of have to like do a cut and then do a maintenance and then do a cut and do a maintenance or whatever, because you want to stress your body out. When your body is complacent with where you're at, you'll reach a plateau. And in that plateau, your body is not gaining muscle, gaining weight, nothing. So in order to get yourself out of that plateau, you kind of have to stress your body out a little bit. And that's the only reason why I would say yes and no to social withdrawing. A lot of people are like, oh, I'll just have a little snack before I go out. And yeah, that works. But if you have friends like mine, sometimes they tell you, come on, girl, just eat. You'll be good. Have a drink, this and that, whatever. And I love my friends to death. And they're great people. But sometimes it doesn't fit in my macros. And I gotta follow what's in my macros sometimes, because that's what I'm living for right now. And yeah, I know how that sounds. But if it fits your macros, you're good. I'm just talking from a gym perspective. Like sometimes you have these goals that you want to meet, and it doesn't mean you have a deadline, but in your brain you kind of have a deadline because you give yourself a deadline and you want to hit those goals. And that's fine as long as it doesn't become obsessive. As long as you're not cutting for months and months and months, and I mean like a whole year. That is very bad for you. You should never be cutting for longer than, I want to say, it's like 3 or 4 months. I can't remember the exact number, but I have heard you should never cut for more than 3 or 4 months, because your body needs to be like stressed in a way for it to have change. So then you want to have balance. In order to have balance, you have to have a balanced mindset. So yeah, aim for nutrition dense most of the time, but have some flexibility in there. Health is a long-term consistency, not perfection, says the perfectionist. No, but for real, this is what I mean. So I'll aim for nutrient dense foods for majority of those 3 months, and then I'll do a little bit of flexibility with my maintenance, because my maintenance is at a higher caloric number. And then I go to my cut, and again, I'll be nutrient dense and I'll be eating this, this, and this. And I'm not saying I'm just eating chicken, broccoli, and rice. I'm also eating fajitas. I'll have tacos, homemade. I'll have a spaghetti. Like, I'm not eating like very restrictively. I'm still letting myself enjoy these good foods. That's fine. I'm just trying to hit certain like percentages, like a 40-40-20, which is 40% protein, 40% carbs, and 20% fats. I'm still eating everything. I feel like this took like a totally different turn than I thought it was going to take. Like, this is mostly what I want to talk about, but still. So, to wrap it up, calorie in versus calorie out is a tool, but it's not a religion. Your food guidelines change, your body's feedback matters more. The balance between awareness and freedom is where most people thrive too. So, like, if you have a goal in mind, aim for it, but don't be so anal about trying to get to that goal. Don't be like restricting yourself. That's where it's a no-no. You still want to have good variations with your foods. You still want to eat good food, and that's fine. But just show your body some love, some care, and give it some good nutrients. I want to leave you guys with a question. Feel free to answer in the comments below. What's your relationship with food right now? And does it feel like freedom or restriction? And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, I'm going to leave all of our socials down below. Email, Instagram, TikTok, etc. Feel free to reach out to me, my sister, my cousin. Reach out down below. And guess what, guys? They are joining me back. Well, this Friday, but you guys will hear them again next week. Woo woo! Party! So please tune in next Thursday. Because yes, I moved it to Thursdays, guys. Tune in next Thursday and let's see what we talk about. And if you have your own topics you guys would like me to talk about, well, leave them in the comments. I'll for sure get them. I want you guys to have a great rest of your week. And just remember, food is fuel and not the enemy. Bye. So when is watching what you eat healthy? It's healthy when it brings awareness to meat nutrition. It's healthy when it brings awareness